What's up, Riverpoint.tv? My name's Terrence Clayton. I'm the online campus pastor. I want to welcome everyone that's joined us from all over the world. And my friends, my best friends, my favorite, right there inside the loop. Man, if you live inside the loop and you're watching this and you haven't been to our West End campus, we want to invite you to check that out. It's Sundays at 5 o'clock on the corner of Shepherd and Memorial. You can email me if you want some more information. Well, we got a great day planned for you. We got some great music and we got some great teaching. So sit back, relax, and we'll see you in just a bit.
I got my first real 6th Street, partied at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled, was the summer of '69. Me and some guys from school had a band and we tried real hard. Jimmy quit and Jody got married, should've known we never get that far. Oh, when I look back now, the summer seemed to last forever. And if I had the choice, yeah, I'd always wanna be there. Those were the best days of my life. Put your hands together. Ain't no use in complaining when you got a job to do. Spend my evenings down at the drive-in, and that's when I met you. Standing on your mama's porch, you told me that you'd wait forever. Oh, and when you held my hand, I knew that it was now or never. Those were the best days of my life. Oh yeah, back in the summer of '69. You know, man, we feeling time. We were young and reckless, needed to unwind. I guess nothing can last forever. And now the times are changing. Look at everything that's come. Sometimes when I play the old 6th Street, think about you, wonder what went wrong. Standing on your mama's porch, you told me that it lasts forever. Oh, the way you held my hand, I knew that it was now or never. Those were the best days of my life. Oh yeah, back in the summer of '69.
Hey, well, if you're just now joining us, my name's Terrence Clayton. I'm the online campus pastor. I want to welcome everyone inside the loop that's joining us. If you haven't been to our West End campus, it's our newest campus at River Point. We meet on Sunday nights at 5 o'clock on the corner of Shepherd and Memorial. We would love for you to be a part of West End. If you're new with us and you've never filled out that welcome card, we want to invite you to do that. It gives us a chance to connect with you. I just want to send you an email and tell you thank you so much for being a part of the day and answer any questions that you may have about River Point. Well, sit back, relax. We got some more songs and then you're going to hear an encouraging message. We'll see you in just a bit.
If we can put our hands together like this right here. Everybody in the room, we'll sing together. Here we go. starts out with nothing can separate. Let's sing together. Nothing can separate, even if we ran away, 'cause your love never failed. No. Let's sing, I know I still make. I know I still make mistakes, but you have the mercies for me every day, and your love never failed. No. Let's sing together, you stay. Lord, you make all things work together for my good. Are y'all sing that out? Lord, you make all things work together for my good. Lord, you make all things work together for my good. Sing it out. Lord, you make all things work together for my good. Oh, Lord, you make all things work together for my good. stronger than the power of the grave, and constant in the trial and the change. This one thing remains. This one thing remains. Let's sing this out together. Your love is your love. Never gives up, it never runs out on me. Sing that out. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Oh, your love. Let's sing on and on. Because on and on and on and on it goes. Satisfies my soul, and I'll never ever have to be afraid. This one thing remains. One thing. This one thing remains. Let's sing together. Your love, your love never fails and never gives up. Never runs out on me. Sing it out. Your love never fails and never gives up. It never runs out on me. Your love never fails and never gives up. It never runs out on me. Oh, your love. Oh, your love. In death, in life, I'm confident and covered by the power of your great love. Sing my debt is paid, and there's nothing that can separate my heart from your great love. Sing out your love. Your love never fails and never gives up. It never runs out on me. Your love never fails and never gives up. It never runs out on me. Your love never fails and never gives up. It never runs out on me. Oh, your love. Oh, your love. In death, in life, I'm confident and covered by the power of your great love. My debt is paid, and there's nothing that can separate my heart from your great love. Sing it out. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Oh, your love. Oh, your love.
Well, this is the time in our service where it gives you a chance to participate. It's the offering time. On the right side of the page, there's an online giving tab. It's a safe, it's a secure place for you to give financially to the mission of River Point. And we thank you so much for your generosity. I know that many of you have given, and your giving makes things like River Point happen. So thank you for giving. Well, we're going to hear one more song, and then you're going to hear a great message today. So.
There are stories in her eyes. Hard up on the corner nearly every day I just drive by. Heaven help me, I can't Heaven help me, I can't help it. It's the furthest thing from my mind. Heaven help me, I can't help it. Nothing's changing when heaven help me. I can't help it. It's the furthest thing from my mind. Heaven help me, I can't help it. Nothing's changing when nothing's tried.
Well, hi there, River Point. It's great to be with you on this beautiful day. My name is Blake Bergstrom. I'm one of the teaching pastors here. I'm always honored and humbled to step in when Patrick is out. Patrick's actually doing a wedding right now. And so I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of what's happening here at River Point, man. I want to welcome everybody that's at the Missouri City campus, everybody that's online. Thank you so much for joining us. I had the privilege several weeks ago to go and be a part of what God is doing through your student ministry at Beach Week. And would you believe that over 40 kids gave their life to Christ for the very first time? It was an amazing week. It was unbelievable. Man, I just love this church. I love being a part of the way God's moving here. And I'm honored to be here to be a part of what has happened in this series. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're in a series that's called Unstuck. And we've been talking about some practical and real ways to be set free. And so you might not have heard that many people have actually taken some steps towards finding freedom from financial debt and really doing something about how they feel stuck in their finances. And then there's been people that's taken some steps towards finding freedom in their marriages and starting to find healing in their relationships and getting into counseling and, making some steps towards freedom in that. There's also been people that have taken steps towards addiction, like, I'm gonna look at this thing in the face, I'm gonna deal with it. And man, it's been beautiful to see God transform people and help people really get unstuck. So today I'd like to talk about the importance of how we have some real struggles. And one of them is that we really might struggle with doubt. So Patrick's out. He gave me a really simple topic called doubt. And so I'm excited about that. But man, it's very real. For some people that are in this room, people that are online, you really struggle to really believe. Whether that is in the inerrancy of the scriptures in the Bible and going, man, Blake, I don't know. I don't know if a guy was really swallowed by a fish. I struggle to think the fire came from heaven and killed a cow. I'm struggling to think of some of the inerrancy of the Bible. Maybe for you it's the personhood of Jesus. And you're like, I don't know if he was real. And some of it is hard. Born of a virgin, he walked on water. Like there's some crazy stuff. Blake, I'm struggling maybe to deal with whether or not hell is real. And I battle whether or not I think God would create that. Man, I really doubt to know whether or not it's like a lake of fire or what it really is. I don't know. Or maybe for you, it's that you struggle to be a Christian because you've met some. Maybe you've done business with one and it got greasy. Some people do struggle with the church and whether or not there should be organized religion at all. All of us, man, we have doubts. And especially when it comes to God and understanding theology. There's very real doubts that all of us have. I've spent 18 years of my life trying to help people get unstuck in their doubts and in their beliefs and helping them understand their faith and their love in Christ. And I got to tell you, I would do about anything to bring clarity in the midst of those doubts. So I have a question for you today. Here's the question. What doubts are keeping you from living the life that God has for you? What doubts are keeping you from living the life that God has for you? See, doubts are sort of like maybe you got into a pond and you were swimming and it got stirred up and now all of a sudden it gets really murky. Doubts sort of like you knew the vision, you had the purpose, you knew the plan, like you were certain you're going to go to this college, you're going to get this degree, you're going to marry this girl, right? But sometimes doubts sneak in and all of a sudden the water's murky and now there's uncertainty and you're struggling. So bringing clarity in the midst of that for me is what I love being a part of. I'll do just about anything to help people understand the love of God and Jesus in their lives. I mean anything short of sin. I'll help people understand who God is in their life. But let me tell you something. It is exhausting to try to convince people to trust you, to hear you, to listen to your voice and to believe you. That is exhausting. It's messy too. And that's why church leaders often get so tired, is because their motives are questioned. It's hard to really believe that, man, I just wish people would trust me. I used to be a youth pastor in Denver, and I was driving around South Denver, and I realized, man, there's skate parks everywhere. I've never skated in my life. But I wish I could connect with these people. There's teenagers like in all these skate parks. And I start talking to some of my teenagers in my youth group. And I'm telling them, man, do you know anybody in our youth ministry that skates? And they're like, no, we don't have one skater. I'm like, that's unfortunate. Well, I really want to do something to try to reach these because they're everywhere. Can we try? And my kids are like, I don't know, maybe so. And I was like, let's do it. And so I start dreaming, we start planning. And you know what, man? I decide to have a competition. And I decided to rent a $10,000 skate park and bring it to the church parking lot. And so I start going to every single skate park in all of South Denver. And I'm like handing out these flyers, and I had these bottled waters with all of the directions and everything on the bottled water. And I'm going to all these skate parks like, hey man, we're going to have a comp. And we're going to have cash prizes. And we're going to have boards that we're going to give away. It's going to be sick nasty. And you can't miss it. And so I'm trying to talk the lingo. I'm like, it's going to be a huge competition, so you got to be there. Well, dude, the day of the event, 400 teenagers come to my church. I have never seen more pierced nipples at a church event in my life. It was unbelievable. There's more spiky blue hair. And I was just like, this is awesome. And so I'm all fired up. And I'm like, okay, man, we're going to do this. In fact, I was so excited. I went to a garage sale the day before. And I bought myself a pair of $1 inline skates. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to enter this competition. I've never skated, but I'm going to do this. And so I put the skates on, and the next day, I enter the competition. And I don't know if you've ever tried to get up on top of an 8-foot tall ramp with wheels on your feet. But if you tried to do that, you might look like this. Let me show you a picture. Yeah, that's me. That is like high. And then when you stand up there and you're like, I'm going to drop in is what it's called with these. This is stupid. Why did I do this? And so I'm not trying to brag, but I actually got second place in that event. Yeah. Now, I was in the lowest division, and there was only one other kid in that division. So you might say I got last. I choose to say I got the silver. All right, so I want to tell you about the kid that beat me. He was amazing. He was a vicious animal. He was 10 years old. There's a picture of him, and that's me in the back. And I know you're looking at him thinking, man, he seems like a good little fella. He's an animal, and I still sort of hate him. I don't like that kid. He annihilated me. And so here's my plan. I was all excited. I kind of tricked everybody. My deal was get them all there, and then they're going to come in, and before I give them the cash prizes and their rewards, I'm going to tell them about God. And so I have all of them in my church. And they're like, what's up, man? This is amazing. So I'm going for it. I'm telling them about God. I'm explaining Jesus. I'm giving them hope and joy. And, man, I'm just going for it, right? Well, in the middle of my talk, one of the dudes just yells out, hey, why don't you shut up and give us our prizes? And I was like, wow, that was awesome. I can't believe he just said that. And I remember looking out in the audience. I just immediately, with him, I was like, man, it's all right. I love you, bro. We'll get to it in just a second. Thank you for your question. And I kept going. But I saw some of my sponsors and my students, and they were huffing and puffing. They were so mad, like, I can't believe he said that in my church. And they're all mad. And I was like, well, remember just thinking, well, what do you expect? My gosh, sinners sin. They're here. Right? That's the point. He's hearing the truth maybe for the first time. He might not agree, and that's okay. But come on. Just because he said a bad word in church doesn't mean, that was the point. Like, he's here. I was so fired up. And so for me, I was just remember going, gosh, I'm getting a chance to bring clarity to his doubts, and he might be just going, hey, God, I don't want to have anything to do with this, and I just want to do everything in my power to bring clarity in the midst of people's murkiness. If people can understand the love and the grace and the truth and the joy of our great God, then I'll do anything I can to help them get there. So, yeah, you can clap. They can have one person clap. That was amazing. So, in Mark 9, there's this amazing account of this dad that comes before Jesus, and he brings his son. And he comes to him because his son is being tormented, and he asks Jesus to heal him. Jesus asks him some questions, and then the man pleads. I want to show you this. The man says, if you can do anything, could you please take pity on us and help us? And then Jesus says, if you can, I kind of the big cheese here. I made everything, including you. If you can. And then he said, everything is possible for him who believes. And then it says in the Bible, immediately the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe, but help me overcome my unbelief. I love how raw and honest that is. Help me overcome my unbelief. I do believe. I love that statement. You have to understand, this guy, he had probably exhausted every resource he had. He had probably gone to every specialist in town that could help his son who's tormented and sick and needs help. And so he comes to him just going, if you can, I need pity, and I need your help. Maybe that's where you're at today. And maybe for some of you in this room or online or at Missouri City, you're going, man, Blake, I'm just like this guy. I'm struggling with health issues. I want so bad to be healed. And I keep going to God saying, if you can. But you're just battling with doubt, asking, why, God? Or maybe for you, you're struggling with a relationship and the marriage just can't seem to get where you want it to. You're struggling to trust completely, and that's keeping you from committing. And so you're just battling to go, God, if you can, could you change this circumstance? Or maybe it's a relative that you know, and they're addicted, and you wish they could be set free. Or maybe it's your own addiction, and you feel dead inside because you keep saying, oh, God, please deliver me from this. And so now you're doubting yourself and you're doubting God. See, we have tons of doubts in this life. Tons. Think of them like this. While you're doubting, you're simply standing on one foot. You're not going forward and you're not going backwards. A lot of churches and believers, they think that doubt is an enemy to our faith, but it's not. It's not. Think of doubts more as an on-ramp to our faith. In order to believe, we have to question. There has to be a wrestling match. And that's where the doubting comes in. Doubting is resistance, right? And how can there be growth in our lives if there's not any resistance, right? And so sometimes the doubt will invade you, and you have to deal with that doubt. You have to walk under the pressure of it and go, what am I going to do with this doubt? Now, I know that's dangerous. I know that to say that, doubt is an on-ramp to our faith, it can also be an on-ramp to unbelief. So it can be an on-ramp to make you believe in God, but it can also be an on-ramp to have unbelief and to walk in disobedience and rebellion. So you have to be careful in understanding that doubts can be dangerous, but you have to deal with them appropriately and be careful to keep them from leading you towards a lie instead of leading you towards the truth. As a general rule, we should practice doubting our doubts before we doubt our beliefs. I think we have a tendency to have a doubt come in, and then you immediately think, well, that's truth, right? Instead of just going, wait a minute, wait. Maybe I need to doubt that doubt. I've struggled, man. My whole life I've struggled with doubting. I'm not supposed to, right? I'm a pastor. I know everything. But I want you to kind of feel off. Maybe you need to be let off the hook tonight. Because doubts, they're not bad in and of themselves. They're normal and they're natural. And you probably didn't hear this in your Sunday school class, but doubts are essential in helping us grow. Here at River Point, we believe that you can belong before you believe. We recognize that people come here with tons of uncertainties, and we simply want to be a place that helps bring clarity to skeptics. Jesus wasn't foreign to this idea. From the very beginning of Jesus' ministry, he had to overcome skeptics. And some of those people were his very closest friends and family. I want you to sort of get a snapshot of Jesus' life, okay? He's born in Bethlehem, and then he's raised in Nazareth. He loves skipping rocks, right? He loves probably having mud fights with his brothers. He loves the small town of Nazareth where he was born, and every single year he would make the journey from Nazareth all the way down to Jerusalem so that they could be a part of what was going on in the yearly atoning sacrifices that they talked about. And so these are sort of his rituals, right? Well, when he turns 30 years old, he meets a man by the name of John the Baptist. And John the Baptist was a man that was out in the desert preparing the way for the coming Messiah. And then he's baptized by John the Baptist. And when he was baptized, a dove descends on his shoulder, okay? And there's a voice from heaven that says, "This is my son in whom I'm well pleased." And so this is like the beginning of his ministry. Right after that, he goes into the desert for 40 days. And he's alone with Lucifer, and Lucifer is questioning him. He's telling him, I'll give you power. I'll give you control of the world. I'll make you a king. I'll give you money. And he's like laying these stuffs out here, getting Jesus to try and break him down and make him doubt in his deity and in who God is inside of him, okay? And so right after that happens, he's baptized. He's sent into the desert. he goes back to his hometown, Nazareth. Now, when he gets to Nazareth, I want to read you this passage that is in Luke chapter 4. It says, he went to Nazareth, where he'd been brought up, and on the Sabbath day he went into the synagogue, as was his custom. He stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was handed to him. And unrolling it, he found the place where it's written. Oh, let's wait there for a second. I need you to sort of think about the magnitude of this moment. This is big. You can't miss this. So here's the Creator God who's come to earth in the form of a baby. And now he's been raised and he's been waiting for this moment to be initiated to do ministry. He just graduated from seminary. And he goes to his home church. And this is his very first sermon that he's ever going to preach. And the attendant hands him a scroll and opens it up to the book of Isaiah. And he goes, that's funny. I told Isaiah to write this. And I made Isaiah. But he stands up to read this scroll, and here's what it says. It says, the Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. And then I want you to hear what it says after that. Then he rolled up the scroll, right? Gives it back to the attendant. And then it says he sat down. That's the whole sermon. He goes and sits down, and the eyes of everyone in the synagogue were fastened on him, and he began by saying this to them. So here it is. He's got this chair. He goes out. He says the thing, set the oppressed free, blah, blah, right? And then he goes and just sits down. When he sits down, it says all the eyes were fastened on him. And he goes, today, this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing. Drop the microphone. What's up now, sucker? It's fulfilled in your hearing. And you won't believe what happened after that. You could feel doubt come into the room. You could probably hear people start to go, what did he say? That's blasphemy. This joker thinks he's the Messiah. What? This is Mary and Joseph's boy. What are you talking? This is James's brother. He thinks this is fulfilled in our hearing. And then right after that passage, look what it says. It says they got up. They drove him out of town. They took him to the brow of the hill on which the town was built in order to throw him off the cliff. But he walked right through the crowd and went on his way. What the? Did you know that's in the Bible? His very first sermon ever. And it's like his hometown, right? This is like Billy and Johnny and Fred. These are his kids, right? He grew up with these kids, this small little church. They had potlucks every week, right? They like, what? And his brother James was probably there. He says this today is fulfilled in your hearing. And they go, all right, bro, well, come on. And they push him, they shove him. They're angry. They're going to murder Jesus, who created every one of them, who was probably just going, why won't you believe in me? Why are you doubting me? You know, of all people, you know me. You know I've never sinned. Have you ever seen me do that? Hey, you know that you've heard about Mary, she, you know, what happened in Bethlehem, and you guys have talked about this my whole life. Why are you so? See, doubt, man, it's powerful. It can be crippling. And I'll tell you, most people in the first part of their ministry, something like that happens to them, they're done. They're not ever going to try again. You're going to try to kill me? Doubt can destroy our dreams before we even get started. Doubt can destroy a relationship before you give it a chance. It can keep you from ever trying, just stuck in doubt. And so we remain safe instead of believing in ourselves and going for it. There was a friend of mine that had a dad that was just, he was an animal. He was vicious. He was filled with hatred. And I've witnessed this man ripping his son and saying things that are just a venom, just poison to his son, like, you're worthless. You are a loser. You will never amount to anything. You're a joke. I've heard those spewed over his son. And you know what happened at the very young age of 15 years old? This young man was disowned by his family and he moved out. I'll tell you, I've watched this kid, the amount of self-doubt that is in his life. It's created this fear and timidity, and it's crippled him in every decision of his life. He's trying to restore his identity. He's trying to believe himself, but man, he hears those voices, and he still to this day believes him, like, I am a joke. I am. But it's sabotaged everything. It's messed up his career. He can't build the courage to talk to a girl. It's always up in his head, and it's just playing over and over. And he's trying to push through his own doubt and insecurities, but man, it's affected every part of his life. Can I say something? Doubts created from your past have the potential to rob you of your future and cripple you in the present. Sometimes we sabotage ourselves. We assume the worst instead of believing the best about ourselves and the people around us. You ever do that? You ever like make up stuff in your head that's just nonsense? It's not real. At work, your wife, your husband, you're making stuff up in your head. Maybe you're online and you see your friends having a party and you're like, well, I wasn't invited to that. I guess they don't, right? We just make up stuff. Let me tell you something that I'm working through right now. Guys, I need you to know something about me. I'm spoiled rotten by my wife. Every single morning, my wife brings me coffee on my nightstand in my bed. Every single morning. And so recently, I woke up and there was no coffee there. And so you can imagine, I mean, I looked to my right and there's no smell, and I'm like, there's nothing. And so I started making stuff up in my head, like, oh, wow, she must want to leave me, right? Like something's, my wife must be in a really bad place. Maybe she's upset with me. Did I do something last night? Why? What's happening? Maybe my wife has simply lost sight of her priorities. So I go downstairs, I'm like, honey, I just want to talk to you about something that I'm struggling with, right? I'm making stuff up in my head. I need to know what's going on. You know what? We worked through it, and it turns out she was just being a lazy housewife. She's going to kill me, man. I'm in so much trouble. I'm just kidding, by the way. I love her so much. I'm spoiled rotten. I don't deserve her. So we make up stuff in our heads all the time about our boss, about our spouse, about our coach. Maybe somebody, has told you something about your kids, and now you're questioning your kids, or maybe it's in your business. And most of the time, it's just ridiculous stuff. Just ridiculous. And when we create a whole bunch of unnecessary drama in our life by kind of playing this thing over and over. So how do we break this cycle? How can we keep from being crippled in the present and keep our minds from going down a road that leads to skepticism and doubt? Well, it's probably by learning how, I'm going to believe the best first. And I'm going to seek to understand before I accuse and doubt. Usually that takes care of most of the problems. I can't think of a time when I've believed the best and it's come back to bite me. But I can tell you about a dozen times or more that I've believed the worst and the relationship was destroyed. The business went south, right? So here's the deal. Whatever you feed, it'll grow. Whatever you feed will grow. We can either feed our doubts and they'll flourish. right? Doubts about the United States of America. It'll flourish. Doubts about, whether you're going to lose your job. They'll flourish. We have lots of reasons to doubt. Or you can feed your faith. You can feed your faith and your belief, and you know what'll happen? It'll flourish. You know what's wild? If you take a baby elephant and you take a stake and you drive it down in the ground, that little dude, when you drive it down on the ground, he's going to tug and pull, and he's going to try to get that stake out as hard as he can. But eventually, you know what happens? He just completely gives up. And when they grow older, all you have to do is tap that thing. And once they hear it, they realize, I'm stuck. Once the elephant is convinced that it's powerless, it'll never try to break free again. See, it possesses the power, but it lacks the belief. Can I just say something? I'm going to preach a little. When you doubt your power, you give power to your doubt. When you doubt your power, you give power to your doubt. I wish so bad I had a handkerchief right now. I just get wild up in here. This is true in so many areas of our lives. What doubts is it for you that you're giving power to? What prisons have you created for yourself? What's keeping you shackled? Is it you that's keeping you prison? Because I serve a God who came here from heaven, being worshiped by angels, to be a part of us here on earth. He became human, and he did it for one reason. That's to proclaim freedom for the prisoners, to recover sight for the blind, and to set the oppressed free. That's who Jesus is. And that's what he came to do. You know, I've often thought about how I'm a little bit bummed for Thomas. He had like one weak moment. And now the rest of the time, he's known as what? Doubting Thomas. What the heck? If you remember, he wasn't even there. The 10 disciples were sitting in the room. Jesus has just died. He was there. He watched him die. And now Judas has already taken his life. So now it's down to 10 because we don't know where Thomas was. But he was not in the room. But then it happens. Jesus suddenly appears to those 10 people. They saw him. They felt his hands. He hugged them. He told them, I overcame death. I now have given you life. He resurrected from the dead. And the 10 disciples are giddy about it. They're like, dude, Thomas, you won't believe it. Oh, and so let me read you that passage. It says in some passage, John 20, now Thomas, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, hey, man, we've seen the Lord. But he said to them, unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe. I get that. And if I'm honest, I do the same thing. You show me a wall and it has a sign on it that says wet paint. I don't know why. I just have to. I reach out and I touch it. I have to see for myself. You can tell me, I got to know, right? That's all Thomas does. He's like, hey, I'm not going to believe. Okay, I hear you. Okay, and this is what happens. So a week later, so 7 days passed, his disciples were in the house again. Thomas was with him. And though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, peace be with you. So he all of a sudden is in the room. Starts here, peace be with you. And then the very next thing he does, it says, Thomas, come here. Let me see your hand. Put your finger there. You feel that? All right. Feel this on my side. What up, sucker? I'm back. And then Jesus looks him in the face and he says, stop doubting and believe. Many of you need to hear that right now. Stop doubting and believe. Thomas said to him, his immediate response was, "My Lord and my God." Then Jesus told him, "Because you have seen me, you've believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet still believe." I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I'm as hard-hearted as Thomas. Like, it was his best friends. It was his closest boys that he'd been with for 3 years straight. And those guys come up to him and like, "Man, dude, it was Jesus." He came and like, they couldn't convince him. They couldn't talk him into it. He would not believe. He had to see it himself. He had to experience. He had to touch it, man. I think that if you're honest, many of you here today, maybe you're making the statement like the father at the first of this talk. You're saying, God, would you help me with my unbelief? Or maybe some of you are saying to him, if you can, God, would you help me with my doubt and help me with my struggle or my challenge or my circumstance? Maybe some of you want to believe in the truthfulness of God's redemption story, but others of you, you're like Thomas, and you're like, "Man, my arms are crossed." Maybe not outwardly, but inwardly, my arms are crossed, and I'm not buying it. You're closed down, and you're shut off, and you will not let anybody or anyone convince you otherwise. You know, the Bible, I love how the writer put in there, "Though the doors were locked." Will you say that? Though the doors were locked. I don't care how big of a fortress you've built. I don't care how much you're crossing your arms. I don't care how much of a skeptic you are. And I don't care how safe you think you are. We serve a God that just shows up. And when you're not expecting it, when it'll be out of nowhere, all of a sudden, when he is in the room, his presence changes everything. And it might be after an accident. It might be because of a health issue. It might be when you're finally to your wit's end and you're like, "I don't have anywhere else to turn." In that moment, my God, he immediately dispels any questions you might have, and he answers the brightest question that you think you can muster, and he sets the oppressed free, and he gives sight to the blind, because even though your doors might be locked, our great God, the living God of all creation, when we are finally having to deal with him face to face, our only response can be just like Thomas's, by saying, "My Lord and my God." My Lord and my God. There's this man by the name of Josh McDowell that wrote this book. It's called More Than a Carpenter. And in that book, it's a really simple read. He's a skeptic, and he writes to help bring truth to the story of God. And he says there's 3 things you have to deal with the personhood of Jesus. He is either a liar, a bold-faced liar, or he's lunatic and just batty crazy, or he is indeed the Lord. Liar, lunatic, or Lord. And for me, I've come to the conclusion in my life that he is Lord of all creation, and he is the Lord of my life, and I've surrendered everything I am, because I don't want to get to heaven one day and look him in the eyes, because I know that day is coming, and say, "Man, I just really didn't think you were real. I just didn't think that the history was true. I didn't think that you really could set people free and that you could heal people. I'm sorry." Instead, I want to be on the other side of that, going, "I will stand in faith, and I will believe with all of my heart, and I will tell everyone that I know about the only thing on this earth that I have seen transform people, and I have seen give people hope, and I have seen people really be completely set free." That's where I want to be. And so for you, I want to ask you one more time. What doubts are keeping you from living the life that God has for you? And my prayer is that you'll be really honest about that question, and that you'll look that doubt square in the eyes, and you'll decide whether or not that doubt is going to lead you to a lie or lead you to the truth. Because Jesus said, I am the truth, and that truth will set you free. Will you bow your heads and close your eyes? I have a question to ask. I know that maybe people at Missouri City or people online or people that are here in this room, maybe you're dealing with a doubt and you're being convicted by the Holy Spirit right now that you need to find healing in that doubt and you need to be set free from that doubt. If that's you right now, I just want to say a prayer for you in just a minute. And so I want to just ask you, online, anyone at Missouri City, raise your hand high. Anybody here, raise your hand high. If you're struggling with the doubt and you need prayer in your life over that doubt, please raise your hand high. There is hands everywhere. Praise God. I see your hands in the back. Amazing. All right, you can put them down. There's another set of people here that maybe have never dealt with who God is in their life. And maybe for the first time ever, you're ready to say, Blake, I've just never really thought of God like that. And now I'm ready to allow him to be the Lord of my life. If that's you and you're ready to give your life to Christ for the very first time, will you raise your hand up high? I see your hand here. I see your hand over here. I see your hands in the back here. Maybe there's someone that's online right now that's listening going, I want to give my life to Christ, and for you, I just want you to know I'm proud of you. Listen, I'd like to ask in this room that everybody says this prayer out loud with me so nobody feels like they're the only one praying. So I want you all to repeat this prayer right now. Father God, forgive me of my sins. Set me free. Make me brand new. Give me a hunger for your word. I recognize that apart from you, I can do nothing. And so I give my life to you completely. I surrender to you, God. I'm sorry for my doubts. Heal me, Father. Forgive me for my unbelief. And help me to live for you for the rest of my life. I pray you'd give me godly friends, a hunger for your word. Fill me with the power of your Holy Spirit and guide me for the rest of my life. I praise your holy name, God. It's in the name of Jesus we pray.
Well, hopefully that message was helpful. Maybe you got some questions about our church or maybe just about the message. I would love to talk to you. Shoot me an email. My information is on the screen. If you live inside the Loop, we would love for you to be a part of West End. It's Sundays at 5 o'clock. That information's on the screen. We want you to be a part of what's going on. It's our newest campus. We're very excited about it. Well, I hope that you have a great week. God bless you. Hugs and fist pounds all around, and we'll see you soon on riverpoint.tv.